you through how to set up the statistical analysis that we're going to use for our tolerance block inspection dimensions. And so you should have the data for hole A through D. The first thing that we're going to do is calculate the mean. And so remember, mean is a measure of central tendency. And so that's our measure of central tendency we're going to use for our analysis here. And so to get mean inside of Google Sheet, I'm going to go ahead and type equals, and then I'm going to start to type in average. And I can see that will come up. This is what we want, average, and then I'm going to select my data, close my parenthesis and hit enter, and I get the mean or the average number for our data set. The next metric we're going to be looking at is standard deviation. And so standard deviation is going to be a measure of variance, or how different the numbers are that we're going to look at. And so I'm going to say equals again, and I'm going to go ahead and start to type in standard deviation, and I can see that I have my options pop up, and we're going to do standard deviation for an entire population for this. I'll select all of my data again, close my parenthesis, and there's my standard deviation. We're also going to be looking at if we take our mean value, our average, and we add a measure of variance to it at different intervals, what does that look like in our data? And so we have 1 standard deviation, -1 standard deviation, 2 standard deviation, -2 standard deviation, 3 standard deviation, and -3 standard deviation. And so to do this little calculation, what we're going to do is I'm going to say that this cell is equal to our mean value, and it's going to be plus one standard deviation. All right. For this one, I'm going to say equals, again, our mean value, and I'm going to say minus a standard deviation. Let me make sure I have that right. Let's do that again. Equals our mean value, again, minus a standard deviation. That looks better. So now we'll say equals, we have 2 standard deviation now. So I'm going to say equals our mean again, and then I'm going to say plus 2 times our standard deviation. And here I'm going to say equals our mean again, minus 2 times our standard deviation. And the last one, we'll do 3 standard deviations, so I'll say equals our mean again, plus 3 times our standard deviation, and then I'll do our minus 3 standard deviation, or equals the mean minus 3 times the standard deviation. And there we have all of the data that we're going to need to make some decisions about tolerances for our parts.